Welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. One of my subscribers said, SouFlo, I've seen a few people cover this topic before, but I want you to cover it because I know you go in depth and you find information that is hard to find out there. Well, kind of something like that. So in this video today, we're going to talk about one of the most notorious gangsters out of Jamaica. He was labeled as the most feared gangster of them all out of Jamaica, and his name is Joel Andem. Now, calling all my South Floridians, Reggae Rhythm Jamaica Restaurant and Lounge is doing it bigger and better than before. They are located at 819 South Orange Blossom Trail in Apopka, Florida, 32703. Just throw that in your GPS and make it there. They upgraded. It was a restaurant before with takeout with a little small area up front for dining in. Now it's bigger and better, still having the options for takeout, but now having the option to dine in with ordering from a specialty menu. All meals are prepared by a certified professional chef out of Jamaica, so it's authentic. The pictures you see are the exact examples of how the dine-in and specialty drinks are presented, among other options that will be on the menu. They provide catering services as well. They will be a live reggae band on the weekends with occasional special guests to perform. You heard that? There will be a live reggae band on the weekends with occasional special guests to perform. Their grand opening is this Saturday, August 22nd. Grab a friend, bring the family, or take a trip just to treat yourself. See you there and tell them that SouFLoTV sent you. You see how the place look good? I'm sending you to somewhere well nice. All right, back to our regular. Let me say this. In Jamaica, we have a thing that's called you can't catch quack or you catch him shut. So I must tell you that a 39-year-old Delroy Stephen Roper was gunned down in front of his congregation, in front of his wife, and in front of his two sons, which were ages 5 and 12 years old. A preacher, a pastor of a church, and he was standing before his church preaching a ceremony. And according to one of his church brothers and fellow pastors, the devil walked in. All right? Gunman slap him where? Right there upon the pulpit.
Wednesday night at the Greater Works in Christ Revival Mission Church should have been about spreading the message of hope and peace to a congregation and those within hearing distance in mud town off Gordontown Road. But sometime after 9 o'clock, the unimaginable happened. 39-year-old Pastor Delroy Roper was gunned down in his church as he preached on the pulpit to his congregation.
When I reached on the scene, it was a very gruesome act to see what they have done to the pastor. And it's very bad to know that someone can go into a church and kill somebody in the church, especially someone of the cloth, a minister, and so to speak.
As well as his church members, the pastor was killed in front of his wife and his sons, who are 5 and 12 years old.
Pastor Roper is someone who very jovial, and he's very friendly, and he's a man that takes his Christianity very serious. And at the time he was on the pulpit giving his sermon to the brethren when the devil walked in.
And even now the circumstances to most, if not all, remain surreal.
I always hear about people got killed in church on the street, but to know someone that we worship together, we visit churches together. On several occasions I preach in his church. I even do a funeral for him in his church, and to know that somebody that we move so good, get along very well, and know that look and is lifeless, but it's very sad, very, very sad.
There were words of encouragement for a flock which must have numerous unanswered questions or even doubts.
I just want to say to them that be strong, God knows best, and in everything has a purpose. And what really happened is for us as Christians, for every denomination to come together and take our Christianity life very serious.
And to the gunman who carried out the heinous act,
I just want that individual to know that God is watching him, and it doesn't matter wherever he goes, he have to give account for his sin. And I hope he find the time to repent and turn to God before it is too late.
Despite the loss and the hurt, there was still a prayer for the country.
And it's time for us to pray more, fast more, because what is taking place worldwide, we really need God's divine intervention to save Jamaica, to save the world out of these forces of evil that polluted the air.
Marjorie Gordon, CBM News.
So you've heard me talk about before, man, where next are they going to start killing people? In churches? Well, apparently it happened already, right? Can't catch Quacker, you catch him shut. This is said to be a reprisal killing for something that his gangster brother Joel Andem had done. And they couldn't get to Joel Andem because Joel Andem was incarcerated at the time and apparently is very well protected in prison, right? Someone infiltrated his gang, the Andem gang, and they leaked video of all the inner workings of the gang, to include video of several high-power rifles and secrets to how the gang operates, how the gang makes their money, what turf and territory the gang has locked down, etc., etc. Intricate details. The law wanted to know who them are, bring them in, and of course, more than likely, try and convict them. And Joel went on the run. He became a wanted man after that video went out. The video went out. Police said, turn yourself in or we are looking for you, and he went on the run. He was captured in 2004. The Andem gang was also known as the Gideon warrior gang. I don't know if you see the correlation between his brother being a preacher, pastor, and the word Gideon. You know, the Gideon war is known to be a spiritual war referenced to by Christian people. So it's no secret that his brother was a pastor, and he himself, although as dangerous as he has been described to be, was said to also be, remember me telling about bad man, like one time me I grew up, me know a bad man, gunman where keep a Bible in a them pocket. And a man might read a verse before him even slap where next man. Them kind of thing there. So anyways, it was alleged to be responsible for over 20 murders at the time of his arrest. Now, Joel Andem was charged 2 counts of murder, conspiracy to murder, 10 counts of shooting with intent, 12 counts of illegal possession of firearm, kidnapping, and robbery with aggravation. On Sunday, April 10th of 2018, the Observer did a piece on him, and that piece was titled, Most Feared Gangster Joel Andem Caught. I'm going to tell you about his son, and I'm going to give you some update, and we're going to talk some more things. But let's get into the article that was printed in the Observer, where it said, after 4 years on the run, Joel Andem, at the time Jamaica's most feared and notorious, was captured in May of 2004 by police and soldiers during an operation in Clarksonville, a rural farming community in St. Anne that is close to the border with my place, Clarendon. So you know, say a long time them place the bad now. Andem, who led the Gideon Warriors gang, was clearly frightened as the security forces corralled the 6-bedroom house he shared with his father and another adult. Now, mind you, he was on the most wanted list, but yet he shared a home with his dad, son, father, paying attention to the news, knowing that his son is a wanted man. Was he turning him over to the law enforcement officials? No, he was not. They got wind, and in an early morning operation, they went and they stormed the place, and this is how they caught him. The police have reported that at the time of his capture, Andem thought they were going to kill him. So he begged for his life. "Oh God, officer, please don't kill me." One of the officers actually described him as, in his physical appearance, he was shaking so badly. He was shaking like a badly tuned truck. You know, when vehicle are tuned up properly and it starts boom, boom. As so the officer described this so-called gangster, badman, killer when police hold him. It always trips me out how they will murder others, but when it's their time to die in the same manner, you will find no one more remorseful and no one more scared and more begging than these types. Now, the feared gangster who cops accused of around 20 murders, 20 counts of murder, rape, extortion, kidnapping, robbery, was described by the police as a semi-illiterate person. Semi-illiterate, who had many brushes with the law. He was first sentenced to 6 months for larceny in 1983 before he was slapped with a 42-year sentence 7 years later for illegal possession of firearm, robbery, aggravation, and wounding with intent. He was, however, listen to this, he was, however, released after 8 years on parole. So how you get 42 years and you're released after 8 years on parole? Word on the street is, this is ghetto doctrine and street talk, that he is one of the bad man them that has police connection and political links. Otherwise, I don't know how you went from these types of charges and that many years to getting released after 8 years on parole. Anyhow, the deadly Gideon Warrior gang, which operated in the Kintyre, Papine, Augustown, Mudtown, and land lease communities of St. Andrew, was blamed for over 20 murders. Some of their victims included, and I'm going to drag your memory, I don't know if some of you will remember these people, Edward's brother-in-law, which was Everett Edwards. First of all, let's start out with Sylvia Edwards. Sylvia Edwards was a gas station operator, right? And she was abducted and buried in a shallow grave after family members failed to pay a $200,000 ransom, right? So that was all a part of their doing, how they make their money: kidnapping, extortion, torturing, murder, rape, robbery, you name it. This victim, Sylvia Edwards, was one of those who was kidnapped and a ransom was put out. The family did not pay the 200 grand and she was buried in a shallow grave. Her brother-in-law, Everett Edwards, was shot dead right across the road from her gas station on Hagley Park Road in Kingston in November of 2001. A day before he was scheduled to testify at the preliminary inquiry of 3 men that were held for the murder of the gas station operator, which was Sylvia Edwards. So he's going to court. He's supposed to go testify, and this is what you call getting rid of the witness, right? And they got rid of him right across the street from the gas station that she used to manage. Now, Pearl Brasco, a St. Andrew Eastern People's National Party activist who was shot dead in November of 2000 after being branded as a police informer. Her body was dumped in a water tank in Augustown. And then you had a district constable who was James Thomas, who was shot dead in Kintyre in November of that same year, 2000, while he was on his way to work at the Papine police station. His body was thrown in the Hope River. In total, police suspect that Andem was involved in at least 23 murders, at least. He is currently serving a 20-year sentence for shooting with intent, and he was also sentenced to 12 years on top of that, imprisonment at hard labor on a charge of illegal possession of a firearm. When I talk about his son in a minute, you're going to see exactly what I mean. So how did the father get 12 years this time for illegal possession of a firearm, right? When we talk about the son, remember that. In addition, he was slapped with another 20 years prison sentence in relation to other gun-related charges. And he was 41 years old at the time of his arrest. Now, like I said, it is hood talk, street talk, ghetto talk, road talk, susu sese, but it's out there that he does have political connections. And matter of fact, it is also out there that he still runs the gang from where he is at. And he has people that answer to him and plays his foot soldiers in controlling the gang. If you think for a second that that gang is dead and the activities, the gang has dispersed, those activities no longer happen. They are one of the gangs in Jamaica that is still in existence and still very active. If you don't believe that, then take this. In July of 2019, remember we're only in 2020, so this happened last year, 2019, July, roughly a year and a month ago. In July of 2019, his son, Joel Andem's son, was held with a gun. Now, his son, at the time he was held with the gun, was 17 years old, right? Check this out. The man was sentenced to 4 months in prison. 4 months, Explain to me how you get 4 months in prison when you're caught with an illegal gun. And I'm not talking about no homemade gun. I am not talking about no like a pew 22. I'm not talking about no 9mm even. Not even a Desert Eagle. Me I talk about a AK-47 gun. Okay? A powerful rifle. And you only get 4 months. So you see, it's not hard to believe that there are connections within law enforcement and within government that are somewhere in here. Me hear say, Joel actually stepped on some people's toes in position of power and they struck him down because it's like your worker getting out of line, so they had to quiet him or they had to teach him a lesson. So that is how he ended up behind bars. Had it not been for that, and he had remained in the good graces of somebody whose name I don't wish to call at this time, he would still be out a road around the place, right? Hood legend has it that his son now controls the gang and the turf on the outside in place of his father who gives orders from prison. Never mind that. His son is currently awaiting his trial date where he will be tried for rape of a minor. So you see, the chip not fall far from the old block. All right. I'm going to leave this one right here, but I will read a few of the comments when this article was posted. And somebody said that, so Mr. Chop, what have you done for us lately, since there are more terrible gangsters today than there ever were before? you're still resting on your laurels, I see, after 14 years ago. And there we're talking to the Minister of Security because they must say, him not really do nothing for secure the place, right? Another person said that this time he should be given the death penalty by firing squad, carried out within hours of passing his sentence. This way, we'll know for sure that he won't be taking another life. Somebody said slapped with a 42-year sentence, 7 years later for illegal possession of firearm, robbery, and aggravation and wounding with intent. And he was, however, released after 8 years on parole. That's a joke. Criminals are creatures of habit, and that is why they should not be given a bly. If he had served the whole 42 years that he had been given, then he would not have been able to commit all those heinous murders. Let me close the video by saying this. Don't forget, the talk is still out there that he is still in command and still able to shoot orders from where he is at and have those orders carried out. Matter of fact, whoever used to get extorted by him and his gang are still on the extortion list and still have to pay up their extortions. And if they don't pay it, then they are visited and they are dealt with. So word on the street is, even today in 2020, here August as we sit, he is still very active right now. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. It's SouFLoTV. Walk good, my people. Walk good. I'm out. Peace.